Today, we're going to dive into the really powerful opening of the 22nd chapter of the Quran, Surah Al-Hajj. It kicks off with one of the most serious warnings you'll find anywhere in Scripture. But then it builds this incredible argument for resurrection, and it uses proofs from our own lives and the world all around us. So let's explore how this chapter makes its case. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. It feels right to start with this traditional greeting just to set a warm and respectful tone as we get into these very significant verses together. So the chapter just jumps right in with this direct call to everyone, O mankind. See, it's not just for one group of people, it's for all of us. And the message is immediate, it's urgent. Be mindful of your Lord, because the final hour, well, it's described as a truly terrible thing, a kind of cosmic earthquake that's beyond anything we can imagine. But the text doesn't just say the hour will be terrifying. No, it goes a step further. It shows us. It paints this incredibly vivid picture to make us feel the intensity. So what does that chaos actually look like? Wow, the imagery here is just so powerful. Think about it. A mother's bond with her baby. That's one of the strongest connections there is, right? Yet the terror of this day will completely shatter it. Pregnant women will miscarry out of sheer fright, and people will be stumbling around like they're drunk, not from alcohol, but from being completely overwhelmed by the pure horror of it all. It's basically saying that this moment is so far beyond any fear we've ever experienced on Earth. So, after painting that absolutely terrifying scene, the text switches gears and zeroes in on a very human problem. People who argue about God without having any clue what they're talking about. Let's break down how the Quran defines this. So what the text is really getting at here are arguments that have no foundation. It's talking about people who challenge the reality of God and the resurrection based on, well, nothing. No real knowledge, no divine guidance, no scripture to back them up. This isn't some healthy debate. It's described as a kind of spiritual sickness, where you end up siding with rebellion and getting completely lost. In its original context, this was directed at those who just couldn't accept the idea of life after death. Now, to push back against this doubt, the text does something brilliant. It doesn't just demand that you believe. Instead, it offers evidence. And the very first proof is something incredibly personal and really miraculous: the creation of a human being. Verse 5 literally walks us through how we're made, starting from something as simple as dust. Then it gets into the biology, a drop of fluid, which becomes a clinging clot, almost like a leech, and then a lump of flesh. And get this, it even says this lump is partly formed and partly unformed, which is a stunningly accurate description of early embryonic development. The argument is so simple yet so profound. If God can bring you into existence from these humble beginnings through this amazing process, why on earth would you doubt his power to do it again? Okay, so the second proof zooms out. We go from the tiny world inside the womb to the massive world that we can all see with our own eyes. And it uses this beautiful, powerful analogy from the cycles of nature. This analogy is just brilliant. You look at the ground, and it seems dead, right? It's barren, lifeless. But then God sends down rain. And what happens? The earth stirs, it swells up, and suddenly it's bursting with all kinds of beautiful plants. The verse is saying, look, this is a sign right in front of you. In the same way God brings that dead earth back to life, he's going to bring the dead back to life from their graves. It makes this huge, abstract idea something you can see and touch every single year. So after laying out these two powerful proofs, our own creation and the rebirth of the earth, the text is ready to draw its final conclusions. It presents them not as opinions, but as fundamental truths that the evidence points to. These 5 points, this is the whole foundation of the argument. Because God can create us from nothing and bring life to a dead planet, he is the ultimate reality, the truth. It proves he gives life to the dead and that his power over everything is absolute. And if all that is true, then the hour isn't a possibility, it's a certainty. There's no doubt about it. Which means, finally, that the promise of resurrection for everyone in the graves will absolutely be fulfilled. It's a perfect, logical conclusion. When you step back, this whole argument is really an invitation to see the world in a totally new way. Not just as a random bunch of stuff, but as a book filled with signs that point to a much deeper reality. It's asking us to look at a rainstorm or to just think about our own existence and to read the meaning behind it all. So the question it leaves us with is a big one. What does it truly mean for us to read this book of signs that is all around us every single day?